Hello everyone and welcome back to another Star Wars figure review. Next up for you today we're going to be taking a look at another Sideshow Collectibles 1/6 scale figure. This time around it's one of my personal favourites and it's a figure that cost me an absolute arm and a leg when I picked this one up last year. It is this figure. This is the Phase 1 or Attack of the Clones style clone trooper from the Militaries of Star Wars range. As I said, this is one of my personal favourite Sideshow Collectibles figures, and it did set me back a pretty penny when I picked it up in 2010. My local comic shop were selling off quite a few Sideshow figures, such as this guy, the Shock Trooper and the 41st Elite Legion Clone Trooper. This one actually set me back $89.99, which is an absolute ridiculous amount, but I bought it with my birthday money at the time. So it wasn't too bad. Absolutely fantastic figure, and I'll get onto him in just a minute. But first up, we are going to take a look at the packaging that this guy comes in. Now, once again, you've got the standard style of the Sideshow Collectibles presentation box. You've got an image of the figure on the front, on the side, on the back, and on the other side. On the back of the box, you've also got accompanying still images from Attack of the Clones, as well as a couple of other figures available in the range, such as the Shock Trooper and the Sand Trooper. Definitely a couple of figures I wouldn't mind getting my hands on at some point. So there's a 360 look at the box. Once again, you've got the opening flap on the side, and when you open the box up you get a look at the display window that the figure would be in, as well as quite a large paragraph of writing about the character, which I'll not bother reading to you because I'll be here for hours, but I'll try and copy and paste it into the video description if you can find it online. You can have a read of that if you wish. So there's the box. Like with most Sideshow Collectibles figures, this guy does indeed come with a couple of swap out hands. The ones that I've got to show you here are a couple of fists, so you can have him looking really intimidating and formidable with his hands curled up in fists. But the hands that I've got actually on the figure are the ones that enable the figure to hold the weapons. And as you can see, this figure does come with the rather long DC-15 rifle, as well as the DC-15S carbine, which I'll give you a closer look at. These weapons are just as detailed as the E11 blasters that come with the Stormtroopers. Once again, you've got a fold out stock on this one, as well as some very light weathering as well. Just hope you're getting a decent look at that. As I said, my camera doesn't really tend to pick up a lot of detail on items that are black. There you go, that's a decent look at that. And of course you've got the long DC-15 rifle as well, which doesn't have any fold out parts, but it doesn't really need them. As you can see, once again, absolute ton of detail all across this weapon. So very cool accessories to come included with this guy. Just put him in an alternate pose for you. This particular figure does come on a generic Sideshow Collectibles stand, which is black with the Star Wars logo placed on it. And just to give you a more in-depth look at the figure, I'm going to remove him from the display stand for you. Now, there's one particular thing that really annoys me about this figure, and that is the fact that the armour is made out of a different type of plastic to figures such as the Stormtrooper. It's a really sort of rough texture to it. I don't really know how to describe it. It's really, the word I'm kind of looking for is impressionable, because if you were to catch the weapons on the armour, they do leave quite a few smudges, which I hope you can see on the chest plate there. Not too noticeable on camera, but in person they do look really eye-catching. And at first glance they just look like battle damage, but when the rest of the figure is completely white and nice and clean, they do look a little bit out of place, and that just shouldn't be a problem that should happen with this figure. It's not a bad thing, because you can just get a wet cloth and give them a wipe and they'll come off. But as I said, if you were to catch the weapons on the figure's armour, then it will leave a mark, and it is quite annoying. So, but that's the only problem I've got with this figure. Other than that, from a visual standpoint, this guy is absolutely incredible. I'll give you a close-up of the helmet. Like with most Sideshow figures, the helmet isn't removable, but once again, it doesn't really need it. It does look very cool though, as I'm sure you can see. The body glove that is underneath the figure's armour is also made out of a different material. Rather than the standard black material that you get with figures such as the Stormtrooper, this body glove is made out of almost a fake leather type of material, and in my opinion it looks a lot better. It just gives extra depth to the figure, in my opinion. In terms of articulation, this guy has an absolute ton, as most of the Sideshow figures do. He has articulation in the neck, in the shoulders, elbows, wrists, torso, hips, knees and ankles. And as you can see, the sculpt of this figure is absolutely incredible. A point that I've raised in quite a few forum entries and also in comments on a few people's videos is the fact that the upcoming vintage collection Phase 1 Clone Trooper that's going to be a part of Wave 6, I believe, that figure is almost like a scaled down version of the Sideshow figure, because the sculpt and the proportions and just the overall look of the figure are extremely cool. So if you're one of those people who displays your 1/6 scale figures with your 3 3/4 inch figures, then that one's going to be a must have to display with this guy, because they do look like, you know, two different scales of the same figure, because the detail in both are just absolutely phenomenal. So there we go, that's an overall look at the figure. Just to give you an idea of how you can pose this guy, I'm going to set him up in a couple of different poses for you. My particular favourite, and I wish I could display him like this, but unfortunately I don't have enough room in my cabinet, is the pose that you kind of see this guy in when they disembark from the Republic gunships on Geonosis in episode 2, and that's this pose, which looks very, very cool. And as I said, I don't have enough room in my cabinet to pose the figure like this. I wish I did, but as I said, when the vintage collection 3 3/4 inch figure comes out, I'll probably set this guy up like that. Absolutely awesome figure, really do like this one. Just a bit of trivia for you. This figure has actually been repainted in 2 different types of deco. The first one being the San Diego Comic Con 2010 exclusive Clone Trooper Lieutenant, which I believe was given much dirtier armour. There he is with the DC-15S carbine. That figure was given much dirtier armour and also blue stripes on the helmet and on the arms and knee pads, I'm sure. And the second one is an upcoming Clone Trooper Sergeant, which I believe is done in a green deco, once again with stripes on the helmet and the rest of the armour. So a very, very cool figure. Highly recommend picking this one up if you can. As I said, this one set me back almost £90. So yeah, it did cost quite a lot of money, but as I said, if you're a high-end collector, then you know, they are worth every penny, and the quality of these figures is absolutely incredible. So I do have one more Sideshow Collectibles figure on the way in the mail, and in my opinion that is the absolute best Sideshow figure that money can buy. I'll leave that one as a little bit of a surprise for you, but I'll be reviewing it soon. Until then though, I hope you've enjoyed having a look at these figures. Of course the Stormtrooper Commander that I reviewed previously, and this guy, the Phase 1 Clone Trooper. I want to thank you for watching this review, and I'll be back with some more very, very soon. Until next time, keep collecting, and may the Force be with you.